Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Campus Care Presents Panel Discussion. Panel discussion is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints on topics related to education and society. I, Mehek Dhiman, your host for the day, would like to welcome you all. So, today's topic for the panel discussion is student centered learning and putting the focus on student needs, interest, and abilities through different instructions and assessments. And for the same, we have with us uh, Mrs. Suvarna Kupa, ma'am, principal of St. Peter's High School, Sikandrabad. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Mehek, and a hello to all the people who are there online.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And then we have with us Mrs. Parvati
Hello,
Reddy,
Mehek.
ma'am, principal of Harvest Public School, Khammam. A very warm welcome, Parvati, ma'am.
Thank you, Mehek.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for
Thank you,
taking.
madam.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out your precious time for us. So let's start off with the session, Parvati, ma'am, and Suvarna, ma'am. So, Parvati, ma'am, let's start off with you. Student centered learning. So, ma'am, what is a student centered learning in your opinion, ma'am? And how can this, benefit the academic and also, the personal growth of a student, ma'am?
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, the school, there is a need from teacher centered to student centered. So we no longer can expect passive listeners in the classroom. And each child has unique strengths where the teacher has to be a mentor rather than like a teacher who feels that she knows everything and like earlier the concept was in the completion of syllabus rather than what the child is learning, so not more than 10% of the students were getting benefited out of the system. Now hopefully NEP 2020 will facilitate the students to learn at their own pace, and the team has to create an environment that is personal to each student's learning skills.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam, are you able to hear me, ma'am?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So she has to leverage resources to and make connections between prior learning and the problem on hand. Yeah, and for and like it's not that easy for any teacher to address the needs of all the 30 or 40 children in the classroom, but the teacher has to develop the skills to understand each child's strengths, and anyways artificial intelligence is at our disposal, so only through machine learning and artificial intelligence we can do justice 100% to the student. Yeah, so there are few platforms that are available where the child is developing from their own stage. For example, a child in class 6, like if there are 30 children per exam class, then each child is unique. So for some children might have a capability of class 2, some might have class 3. So there we have different learners in the classroom. So that is the biggest challenge any teacher
Yes.
classroom. And the parent is, when my child is in the same school from class LKG or nursery, is the responsibility of the school to develop the skills of the children. Yeah. So through artificial intelligence, we can just help the child to learn from their stage and develop to the current stage, at least in an year or 2 years, if the teacher facilitates the child, so they can develop to that extent.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
madam.
Very
And
beautifully explained, Parvati,
yes,
ma'am. Suvarna, ma'am, over to you.
yeah,
Firstly, ma'am, would you like to add something to ma'am? And also, ma'am, what in your
yeah.
opinion is a student-centered learning? And also, how do you think and the school leaders, principals can support the teachers to design a student learning experience, ma'am?
the term student-centered learning has been very much in the media and catching everybody's attention after a lot of references to it in NEP 2020. But then this is not something which is new, though the innovative pedagogical approaches that NEP 2020 suggests are definitely worth reflecting and incorporating into a school's academic plan. Student centered learning as such isn't anything new, because since ages we do not teach just to fetch scores, but teach to provide the learning experiences to students. And since quite a few years, CBSE has been focusing on the schools delivering experiential learning too. And for me, as a school leader from St. Peter's High School, this aspect is more close to my heart, because our school motto is "Let your child blossom," where we have the student at the center of learning, center of academic experiences, center of co-academic experiences also. And as you asked how a school leader could help in it, I think right from the mission and the vision statement of the school, right up to the feedback and collecting the conducting a SWOT analysis on the campus and finding out what exactly the student or all stakeholders of the school community, for that matter, the students, the teachers, and the parents look for, what kind of experiences they look for, and the school would always benefit. And I would speak from my personal experience. I start with the student led or student centered learning, starting from teacher training to begin with in the academic year, where the teachers are given a chance to expose themselves to different innovative pedagogical approaches that either the CBSE or the NEP 2020 document refers to, giving them a lot of exposure to that and practicing that, so that that is carried forward to the classroom, and guiding the teachers plan transaction in such a manner that merely absorption of knowledge, but an experience per se, to absorbing that knowledge through an independent learning experience. And that is where what Parvati madam has referred to, AI and machine learning, can come to help in certain contexts. But by and large, as a school, we follow numerous pedagogical approaches, right from story based, toy based, art integrated, career integrated, film based, the list goes endless. The basic crux or the essence of what I would like to speak in this context is, yes, even as adults to this day, if we are recollecting the very cherished memories of our student days, it is those classes that had a hands-on in the essential, and our approach is ought to be student centric. It can go on well only when teachers are in the first place. When they are trained well, then whatever we are expecting to reach, students will actually move into the classrooms in the right manner. And fortunately, we are able to do that in imbibing lot of experiential learning that is recommended by NEP 2020. Maybe further on, I can speak further about it. Few things like gamification in the classes, bagless days, hands-on lab activities, all these go on very, very well, be it in a nursery class or in a 12th class. So that's all from me.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Suvarna, ma'am.
It's nice to hear, Suvarna madam.
Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am. So moving forward, Parvati ma'am, firstly,
Yes, ma'am.
would you like to add something to ma'am? And also, ma'am, how can, how do you as a school leader ensure that, the student-centered learning is properly aligned with school goals and the standards of the school, ma'am?
Yeah. So we have to have diagnostic tests occasionally, and like the assessment should happen more like problem based, project based. The school setting itself should encourage the children to participate more actively. So the school goals are always like keeping the children's learning in view. So it's obvious that the school goals are for the development of the child. Yeah. So when the child is active, obviously we are sure that we meet the school goals.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So like school every time has a goal, but we before 10 years we never knew that the child should what has to be done to make the child active in the classroom.
Yes, ma'am.
So now we have awareness, like how to engage the child actively. So we design many activities in the classroom every day so that the learning definitely happens. So we make them pairs, we make them groups. Yeah. So obviously we are quite sure, making it quite sure that we are matching to our school goals.
Yes, ma'am. Uh,
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And also, ma'am, what are some of the challenges that you face while implementing the student-centered learning, and how do you think they can be resolved? How do you think they can be addressed firstly?
Like student centered learning needs lot of initiation by the teachers also. Not only the school management or the principal should have a motto to have student centered learning, but the teacher should 100% learn the new techniques to make quite sure that 100% participation is there from the student side, so no child can be left behind. So like she can pair up, like they can who are actually strong in other things like coding, they are strong, video editing, they are strong. So when some projects are given to them, they can actually give the role of to that child who are supposed to be the slow learner, the challenge, where they can take part in video editing or coding kind of thing, and even the meritorious student can learn from him. Yeah. Um,
Absolutely, ma'am.
so, like, there we can ensure that the teacher has to be trained very well, because nowadays we don't find teachers who are very passionate and coming into teaching profession. So, our experience is the teachers are coming by chance into the profession. Maybe out of 10 teachers, it's a fact that only 8 teachers are coming into this profession. Sorry, only 2 teachers are coming into this profession with passion.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
remaining 8 teachers, maybe for some other reasons, they are into this profession. But once they are into this profession, we try to motivate them that as this is the destination, then you should make up your mind that you have to do justice to the children. So only with your heartful participation you can do that. So when they are coming forward to become a good teacher, definitely if it is a student centric learning, the teacher will have the true satisfaction that she has taught something. Yeah, when the slow learner is answering well, the teacher feels so privileged than the quick learner. If somebody else who doesn't talk much in the classroom is giving unique answers or quality answers, the teacher will definitely feel happy. So once the teacher starts knowing the fact that she has to address all the students, it becomes easy for us to mentor them. So we hold many trainings to the teachers and explain them what is activity based. So when it is activity based experiential classroom, all the students are engaged, and definitely we can expect good answers from them, and it is a lifelong learning for them. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, indeed. Thank you so much, Parvati ma'am. Over to you, Suvarna ma'am. What are some of the challenges that you may have faced while implementing student-centered learning, ma'am?
I wouldn't say challenges, but yes, unless enough time is catered to training teachers in what we making it very clear to them about what kind of expectations we have of them in the classroom, things would certainly be challenging. So, having a very set and steady and smooth flowing teacher training, which doesn't happen namesake once in an academic year or twice in an academic year, but is consistently happening through the academic year. For instance, at our school, in addition to the faculty development program that we have at the start of the year and sometime in the mid of the year, each Saturday we ask teachers to co-plan, collaborate, and have productive conversations where they discuss about different approaches that can be executed in the classroom so that one, this student centric learning happens. Two, a very productive and well managed and effective learning experience of a different genre is provided as relevant to the theme. Three, we are able to cater to all levels of learners. Any school across the globe, you would always have a homo heterogeneous set of students and never a homogeneous set of students. You are bound to have gifted learners, you're bound to have emerging learners. So, according to the need of the class, we try to modify our learning plans and make sure that all the learners are participating and getting a chance to be in the experience, learning experience. For example, if a teaching period is for 40 minutes, as a mandatory practice, we follow around 20 minutes focusing on the action or the experience each day. So much that in any given class or any given teaching period, the teacher's talk would be somewhere around 20% and the student's talk or sharing their experience would be around 80%. So much that not only do they reap good benefit out of the learning experience, but they also get a chance to express it creatively, automatically developing the required learner autonomy in them, for which we use a different variety of pedagogical approaches, a variety of TLMs, that is teaching learning models, be it very simple models or be smart boards or any online platforms or AI assistants. But whatever, I think challenges are bound to happen in any kind of execution, but they could be minimized when we start off with a very clear set of instructional expectations cascaded to all the stakeholders, followed by consistent training. I find the circle time which happens each Saturday, wherein the teachers discuss about how a particular activity should go on in the class, and they spend time gathering the required resources. Believe me, whether the teacher is joined the profession by choice or by chance, once an individual steps into a classroom and is on this side facing 30 pairs or 60 pairs of curious eyes looking at them with lot of admiration, and they simply adore you as a teacher, it does the magic. Whether they have come there out of compulsion or any other way, that admiration from student itself compels them, I would say. Perhaps the use of word compel is debatable, but whatever, once they are at that receiving end of admiration from students, they start upgrading themselves, thinking of exploring of different innovative approaches, and a routine and mundane science class where they simply draw something on the board or read out from a textbook could always turn into an as special as an AI integrated class with augmented reality into the classroom, or a hands on experience with just two simple potted plants in the class and children observe. So, going along with this, we give leverage to the teachers to plan on delivering some of these lessons in a very unique way. And perhaps we at St. Peter's are one of the few schools that have had very successful execution of bagless days, which were a super duper hit. To begin with, when we spoke of bagless days as quoted in NEP 2020, it was a question mark for most parents, a question mark for teachers. What is it we are going to do without any books? But as we learned, we had lot of training and delivered. I could see that bagless days at the end of the academic year, you ask any student, any teacher, which was the best part of the academic year, they would quote bagless days. So that was one event which we introduced post NEP 2020 into the school, where teachers did really a lot of learning together, lot of research on how they could present a really different and unique experience. And for many parents who thought bagless days would go well for nearly, pre-primary and primary students, it was a different experience altogether, seeing even the 12th graders having bagless days and debating about socially relevant topics in their classes across all the subjects. It was excellent. Otherwise, as a school, we insist that out of every 40 minutes of teaching, there must mandatory be an action or an experience. Whatever be the experience, teachers are free to choose that based on the theme and subject. But 20 minutes of experience effectively has to be there. And if we are looking at student centric learning, apart from teacher training and exposing them to emerging trends in the educational scenario, one other thing that all the teachers need to be really trained in is effective time management. So unless they're managing their 40 minutes class effectively or a 60-minute class effectively, they may not be giving the required scope and space for children to experience and talk about it or share their perspective about it. Because unless an experiential learning includes both experience by the students as well as a group discussion or a scope for students to share their perspectives, it's of no use. It's only through these group discussions and a scope for sharing their perspectives that students will be really able to think and groom themselves into students required for to compete with the best students across the globe.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Suvarna, ma'am. Very beautifully explained.
Yes.
Lastly, Parvati, ma'am, how do
Yes.
involve the parents in these student-centered learning to
Yeah,
support? Yes, ma'am.
that is the most difficult thing that any school faces, madam. Like without the involvement of the parent, the child cannot perform or learn the way he has to,
Yes, ma'am.
because like has to address 30 to 40 children at a time, where few required very key skills cannot be addressed in the classroom. For example, textbook reading is the mandatory thing, but the teacher cannot ask all the 30 40 children to read the textbook in the classroom. So she cannot give time, or she cannot assure that everybody is reading. So if she allots some 5 minutes of time for silent reading, we cannot assure that every child is reading unless they read aloud. So, reading is the basic skill, and we can observe this skill, the importance of this skill after COVID. So, as children were away from the school for more than 1.5 years, we can observe a huge difference in the reading and writing skill. So, the child has to be addressed individually. So here the parent has to help the child. And as we spoke about addressing the children or helping the children through machine learning or artificial learning, there are few platforms where they are helping the children to large extent. It was a fantastic effort by these platforms where the child can learn at their own pace. The real student centric learning happens. But here the danger is the children will easily get attracted to the gadgets, and somehow they'll slip away to some other sites and all. Here, the parents' role is crucial. So we cannot do everything in the school timings itself. So we have to ask the child to go home and finish this assignment. So when the school is asking the parent to give the time to the child to engage them on the gadgets, there is no control or cooperation from the parents. And they are busy in their own way, or maybe they are working, but somehow they have to find some time to have control on the children and to observe what the child is doing. One thing is, as we spoke, the child should not get deviated from the task. Yeah, and another thing is whether the child is doing as per the norms or not. Yeah, and sometimes through enthusiasm or something, somebody else is doing the task where the school is finding it difficult to monitor the progress of the child. Suppose somebody else, some elder child is doing or the parent is doing in the place of the child. We find it a challenge to track the progress of the child because it shows uneven progress. There is no steady progress. So when we explore and listen to the audios or something, we find that somebody else is using the app. Yeah. So definitely we need parent support, and most of the times it is fruitful when we talk to the parent one on one rather than calling them for a general parent meeting. One on one meeting with the parents, counseling them how their participation is important for the child's progress. Then we find some change in the parents' attitude, and they are quite cooperative.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Parvati ma'am. Thank you so much, Suvarna ma'am, for being here today. It was lovely having you here and listening to your experiences and viewpoints.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehak. And if I may add regarding parent expectations, having a set schedule of parent orientation, educating them about the changes that are happening in the educational sector, taking them into confidence about what kind of things happen at school always helps.
Yes.
And technology enabled homeworks are to be minimized, and more of practical and self-learning modules are assigned by us.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very well said.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Suvarna ma'am. Thank you so much, Parvati ma'am, for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you,
you,
madam.
Mehak. Thank
Nice
you.
talking
Thank
to
you,
you.
Mrs. Parvati. Yeah.
Thank you, Swarna madam.
And for all the viewers watching us out, do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.